Looking for retro Christmas DIYs? Keep watching. I'm Brandy, and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome. Okay, so the first is going to be an ornate gift box. You're going to need a little vintage piece or vintage inspired piece. This is not authentic. I'm going to use some table scatter in blue and white, a little wreath, and I just thrifted this, but it needs to be flexible. Got some pink little berries or flower pods. Got greenery and some of this white holly. I'm going to use a little box from Dollar Tree. It's square and you're going to use the top and the bottom. Then you get to do the fun part, picking all the trims and frills that go on. I'm going to use that pink, and then we have a variety of blue. This looks kind of snowy. And here's some vintage ribbon, and this is also vintage. Okay, so now you get to pick your papers. I am going to use this one and that glittery one, and they came from this pack. Alright, so you're going to remove that sticker and feel the satisfaction of it coming off pretty much in one piece, because that always makes me happy. It's the little things, y'all. It's the little things. Okay, so we're going to take that box apart, set the top aside, grab your pencil, and let's start making some panels for the sides of the box. I'm going to measure this from the top to the bottom sideways. Get the ruler and extend that line. Then we're going to cut out the strip. We're going to do the same thing on the silver glittery paper. Gorgeous paper, by the way. Cut that one out. And then you can save the other pieces for other decorations if you want to. Put them aside, you can save them. Then we're going to need 2 of the blue and 2 of the glittery silver. We're going to cut the panels down to the measurements of the sides of the box. And instead of using a ruler, I'm just going to trace it down here. Just put the box on it and cut it down. You're going to need to cut those pieces after you get the silver and the blue done, because we're going to have silver on 2 sides and the blue on 2 sides. Now the blue paper is not vintage, but it is vintage inspired, and that's what this video is going to be like. So it's going to be inspired. It's going to have some elements of retro, and it's going to be mixed in with a little bit of, you might want to call it shabby chic. I'm not entirely sure what you would call it. So I'm going to just use hot glue. You can do anything you want to glue this down, any type of glue. Hot glue works best for me when I am doing these projects for you guys, so that's what I use. But you can definitely use double stick tape or whatever you like to use here, as long as you get your sides down evenly as possible on your box. Now don't worry if you have a hair of it hanging over, because we're going to be able to trim that down shortly, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so if you don't like the look of this, you can do all of one color. I just like the difference here. This beautiful trim was given to me by a sweet lady not too very long ago, the beginning of summer, I do believe, and it is beautiful for this piece. This came from Dollar Tree, and y'all, this ribbon is actually adhesive, so you can just peel the back off, and I didn't even know it when I picked it up. So you're going to pull this around. I'm putting mine right to the bottom edge, lining it up with the bottom edge of the top of the box, holding it straight in my hand and just pulling off a little of that backing as I need and as I go. I'm going to cut it off and then make sure that I've got it all pressed down and I'm liking the look. I'm going to start in the corner and grab that trim. And a lot of what we're doing now is going to be kind of repetitive, because you're going to put the stuff on top and you're going to kind of layer it on there to give it a lot of texture. You can certainly use any type of lace that you have or trim. That would be really pretty, whatever you like. I just thought for this vintage video that we would do some pinks and blues, because I have not done this before. And I think the colors are really, really pretty. They're soft and pretty, and they look retro to me. Alright, so we're going to continue along, and I'm going to put this beautiful trim down here. You can see the glitter through the the trim, the pink trim that I have there, and then I've got this on top of it. So we're layering it up, making it look luxe. We're going to cut it off and make sure that everything is glued down nicely so you don't have anything coming apart. Try to keep those lines nice and straight if you want to achieve a high-end look. Look how adorable this is. Cute. So I'm just going to grab an emery board and just kind of file down, and then sometimes after I file down and to the side, I'm going to go back over it in the other direction. That's going to give you kind of a white edge. You're going to see that paper under there. If you don't like that, you can take a little bit of antiquing wax and run your finger down those seams, and it'll give an old look. And then I'm going to, this is on like thick wire, so I'm just going to bend the wire and to make this into a square so that I can get this down on top of the wreath of the box. And you don't have to do this. You don't have to make it a square. You can keep it a circle. It's totally up to you. That is your preference. On this channel, I encourage you to make it your own. If it brings you joy, then you're doing the right thing. Okay? So I'm going to go on the corners because mine is a square. I've bent it into a square, and I'm just going to press this down. I thrifted this little piece, but you can get little wreaths like this just practically anywhere. Now I can't put my weight in the center, so I'm going to put a ruler in the middle and hold it down with that weight until it is dried. And now this is how it's going to look. I'm going to take those pieces of greenery and pull them back so that there's a little more in the center. It's going to make a little well in the center, almost like a nest. Then I'm going to take these beautiful pieces and cut those off. And I encourage you to use any colors, anything you like. If you have all white and you want to use all white, go for it. I think that would be beautiful as well. So I've cut down the pieces that I think I'm going to need. I'm going to take a little bit of foam, and this just came out of some packing materials I had. And then I'm going to have enough of a stem there where I can poke it into that foam. And I'm just kind of doing it at a low angle. And I'm going to make a square. So you'll see there's, or an X, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. And then I'll go in between those and add in another layer. I'm flexing the wire in there so that it gives it a little body and it stands up just a little bit. We like the dimension, so that's what we're going to do here. That dimension that we always talk about as crafters, it just gives you something to keep the eye busy. It gives you, it's kind of that thing that keeps you looking. It draws your attention, you know? And I like that. I like that there's, look at that. See all the layering in there? I think that's really pretty. It makes your pieces look unique and high-end, and I think pretty much we all achieved that, strive to achieve that, don't we? Okay, so I'm going to take some of this holly, and yes, this is vintage holly. It does have dust on it, but it also has glitter on it. So I did the best I can to get all of the dust off of them, but they still have a slight aged color, and I'm totally fine with that because it matches the vintage idea or the retro idea, right? Our little throwback bird. Okay, so I'm going to trim this down so that I can put a little bit of these little flowers or berries, whatever these are, right in the middle of each little clump of the holly. And the little bird I got at Dirt Cheap in a pile of stuff that came from Target. So you may find one at a garage sale. You may have something around your house that would work perfectly in here. And you can always use Velcro if you want to, if you don't want to destroy or if you want to reuse your piece. Just be gentle with it. Okay, then I'm going to add some of the scatter in here. We'll take some pieces of the white picks that I pulled the holly off of, and we'll have some that are going to be a little bit higher. And you're going to see these in different areas because I do move them around a little bit until I get them where I think they fit best. I'm just looking at it from all angles. Remember, you need to check it out fully before you make a final decision. I'm going to take some of that silver rickrack, and I am going to pull that down into just a really simple bow. Nothing complicated for this. Then I will cut it off and add a little glue to her neck so that she has a very pretty little bow. Now I'm cutting down these little pieces of this snowy looking stuff that I thrifted. And you can also use the white kind of meshy looking ribbon that you get at Dollar Tree. That I think would look great here as well. This is a little glittery, so I think that I like it in here, so that's why I'm using it. And these are essentially little tails. They're not actually a bow, but it gives a little something else, and it gives a little, again, depth and dimension to your project. So it's about 3 or 4 inches long, and I pinch it in the middle after I've dovetailed it, and then just push the tails up together, holding it in the middle. That's going to make those cute little flyaway looking pieces. And I'm just going to tuck them around just here and there, you know, where I feel like it's balanced and where it looks good. And fluff it out, make sure it's pretty. Ooh, I almost dropped her. I love the movement in here. I do see that I want to trim down that one little table scatter on the top there. It is a little bit too long, so I'm just going to take my wire cutters. I like to cut these pieces at an angle because they pierce down into the foam much easier. Much, much easier. So there's a little tip for you. And I'm just going to press it down. And now I like that. That looks a little more balanced to me. I'm going to take another little piece of holly. This is like the end piece where it's small and compact, and put it right behind her. And I think that really, really, really showcases that precious little bird. Okay, so now we are back to our box. Let's work on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to put the same coordinating trim on the bottom. And I want to remind you here, do this your way. Do this however you like it. If you want to layer ribbons the entire way, you do that. If you don't want to put anything on the bottom, you do not have to do that either. I love making these little gift boxes because you can use these either as decoration. You can give them as a gift. You could put a gift card in there, some candy in there, and give them as a gift. So the person is getting not only what's inside the box, but they have a keepsake that they can put out for years to come. Now we're going to double that up. I'm going to add some more of that beautiful vintage ribbon on top. And then we're going to put the top back on. Now, turn your top upside down, fold up the trim, and then put the box into the lid. It could be a bit of a little tight squeeze, but just you'll get it in there. Just work with it. And then put the trim back down. She is a little beauty for sure. I really like this, and I hope that you try to make something like this yourself. She's a cutie pie. The next project is going to be a mini mold tree. We're going to use these little jello molds. I have 3 in 3 different sizes. I have a base. This is going to be our base. It's just a little metal candle holder. We're going to use a paint tray and some paint. You can choose. I want to have a paint that's going to match closest to the color of the eyes on the bird and what's going on in the paper. Some paint brushes, of course. We're also going to be using some glitter and some Mod Podge. All right. Now, if you like the look that's already on there, go ahead and leave it that way. I wanted to change it to more of a silvery tone. So this one's a little bit newer than the other two, so the colors did not match up. Now, if I was doing rustic, I would have left them just like this, probably added some antiquing wax to them to really show the age, but not for this project. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 in silver, 1 in blue. The middle one is going to be in blue. Then I'm going to go all over this base in this silver as well. When they're dry, this is how they're going to look. And I like this much better. This is 2 layers of paint on this blue one. I'm just going to grab some glossy Mod Podge, put it in this is like a lid from a treat. Then I'm going to grab my glitters too. I think it was from cotton candy, as a matter of fact. You'll need a container to mix your glitter. So we're going to do silver, white, and blue. Give it a good shake there. We're going to dip this just like we're making margaritas, ladies. Yes, like you're making a margarita. You're going to rim that. You're going to put it down in your bucket and kind of jiggle it around a little bit until it is covered in that beautiful glitter. And when you pull it out, it's going to have this beautiful multicolored frosty edge. We'll go ahead and do that blue one as well, and then we'll do the other piece. And when you put these down, be sure you put them upside down on the paper so that they will dry, or whatever surface that you're using, your mat or whatever you're using. You know how glitter is. There's a lot of glitter in my craft area, I can tell you that. Okay, so here are all 3 of those. You're going to set them aside and let them dry, of course. And while they're drying, we're going to take the rest of that Mod Podge and empty it down in here. It's almost like when I use this, it's not like a resin, but you're almost doing because we're doing a thick layer and we're going to put glitter on this thick layer, it makes it really thick. There's no sparse areas. Like when it's dried, it is absolutely stunning. You don't see the Mod Podge at all. All you see is the glitter. So I'm really just going to pour all the rest of that glitter on there. I'm shaking it because you can't move it around once it hits that Mod Podge. So be sure that you sprinkle it out all over that little base, whatever base you're using. Tap it around. If it wants to move a little bit, that's fine. You can always take the rest of it once it's dry and tap it out into a tray. And then you can use the rest of that separately. Let the lids, well, not the lids, the molds dry, and then we're going to put down a base. So this is going to be a Christmas tree, so we need to take our base and press it down in there. This is just like a little spool for some, I think this was from some ribbon from Target maybe, and it was broken. I'm pressing it down in there and patting it down with my fingers so you don't see any disruption. Now everything's nice and smooth. And then I'll be using these wood blocks. Now y'all, I promise you, I don't try to copy anybody else's projects. However, when I was working on this, I did see that somebody on, where was that? Pinterest, I think, did a method similar to this. So I'm not copying anybody. I thought I was being original, but there you go. It has been done before, but this is my version of it. Let's put it that way. Okay, so this is going to be the base of our Christmas tree. Once you get your little wooden blocks glued in there, so you've got some dimension and some openings, so you want to have a little bit of shade in between each one, so they're spaced somewhat evenly. And you're going to have to let that dry overnight. But let's go ahead and embellish the top. We're going to take one of these beautiful little bird picks. This was on clearance at, I think it was Hobby Lobby last year. We're going to add some hot glue here and put a little bird topper. How about that? Use whatever type of topper that you would like. Y'all come and join us on the crafting cruise. It's February the 24th through the 29th. I would love to see you and give you a big old hug. Go check it out. Got the link in the description box below. Okay, the next is going to be Tart pan ornaments, and we're going to do 4. I'm going to go with that same silver paint. I had a box of these little Tart pans I found at Goodwill, so I'm going to use 4 different shapes. I'm going to use those birds. These are little pieces in a card making kit that I thrifted. Some more of that holly, possibly, and then whatever type of greenery you like. Some frosted greenery, and that one's from Dollar Tree last year. I'm going to take a brush and start adding this on here because these are very shiny and I want to dull them down, so we're really going to age these. See the difference? After they are dry, I'm going to go in with some antiquing wax and a somewhat of a chippy stencil brush, I guess you could call it. It's got long, stiff bristles, and I'm going to flick this along. Try not to get any wax in the middle because you're going to be embellishing that, and you don't want the wax to interfere with any adhesives you use. I'll have a hammer, a little fine screwdriver, or an awl. Now, all the glitter and the goodies. I've already decided what I want in each of my ornaments. And then we're going to have some of this wire. So I'm going to, once I decide what I want in each one, I'm just going to dump them in little piles where I can remember which ones I want to use. So in order. And then we're going to make holes for our hangers. I'm going to take my awl. Be sure that you have a block of wood underneath there or some of that thin wood panels that you can get from Dollar Tree to protect your table. In this one, we're going to use 1 hole. And this one we'll be doing 2. And I'm just going to show you an example of how you do 1 and how you do 2. If you do 2 in the top, you need them to be equally spaced so that the ornament will hang in the right way. Okay, now we're going to cut the hangers, and we're going to be making our own hangers. If you want to skip this part, you are welcome to do so and just use regular hangers that you find at the store. But I'm going to twist my ends. This is how it's going to hang. I'm going to thread it back through the other hole, twist that in. So you have some little curly thingamabobbers that are going to hold on. And I think that gives it a cute look. And you can twist it around, and you can use whatever. I like to use this wire on the paddle, but you can use whatever wire you can find, and you can definitely use something you get at Dollar Tree or something you already have in your home. Okay? Go in the toolbox. There might be something there you can use. All right, so now we have a hook. I'm going to grab that Mod Podge and a brush, and we're going to start embellishing these little cuties. See, they look much more aged now. I'm going to add Mod Podge on this round one on the edges, and then I'm going to tap that glitter, just using the white glitter in this one. I'm going to tap that glitter all over the place. And y'all, I don't think I've ever paid full price for any glitter ever. I usually find it at the thrift store. But Dollar Tree has lots of really nice packs of glitter right now, and they do have something in like a aqua or a bluish color that is, I think, a 3-pack. That is really nice. You might could find something like that to use here if you like the blue and the pink. I'm going to go over the center of this beautiful flower and just tap that off. Look how pretty. Just a little extra frostiness, and using a wood block to elevate it so that it has room up there. Just glued that down. I'm going to go to the next one. I'm trimming a little piece of scrap. This came from that card pack. I'm going to add some hot glue and then press that down. Then joining the sides of that and slightly up, not all the way to the top. I want the edge to show on this one. Going to tap it over there, and then you can add your glitter. Now, for anybody who is thinking in their head before you put it down here, when I'm crafting, I don't exactly know what I'm going to be doing until I do it. So if you're wondering why I did the painting and all that kind of stuff just to cover it in glitter, is because I want to keep everything on the same page. If that, in my head, it makes more sense that way. I feel like it's easier to show you this way. Okay, so I've added 2 beads and a bird in the bottom, and that little bird is precious. I'm going to add a little pink bow here for her. You could do this with ribbon too, but this is just a piece of that same card making kit. That is a cutie. That is a cutie. She's a cutie pie. All right, so we're going to grab some more, and I'm trying to give you a variety of ideas of how you can do this. Okay, so that's why I'm showing you all these different ways. Now I'm going to take that mixed glitter and go right into the middle of that, shake it around, tap off excess. We're going to make somewhat of a faux snowman here. So I'm going to put a big one on the bottom, a small one on top of that. I'm going to trim down some of these pieces of frosted greenery and tuck those in. Add a little glue here to hold them in place. And be careful, you need to use a cool temp on these little thin pieces of plastic greenery, because otherwise they'll just melt and curl up, and then your piece will be a disaster. Look at that one. Love it. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. Now this one's way too big for what I like. The main focal point is going to be the poinsettia in the middle. So I'm just going to trim off little bits of this and leave some of the greenery, but trim, some of it off so it fits better. For this one, I'll be using tacky glue just to show you a difference. I'm going to put the glue down, a tiny piece of scrap foam, a little bit of glue back on top of that foam, and then the print right down on top. Now, if you were to use hot glue on that foam, it will melt clear through it. I did it. I edited it out. Okay. Now I'm going to add beads, a little bit of hot glue and beads all the way around to all the way back to the front. This is giving me Victorian vibes here, y'all. Okay, so another one of those little bows on the top of this one. I'm going to add a little something in the middle. This came off the top of a push pin or a tack. It's just a little gold sticker that was on it, and I thought it would look pretty there. Now I decided I want to add a little glitter in the background, so I'm just going to take a long bristle brush, just kind of put it in there in no particular way, and then tap in that silver and tap the excess out. Cute. If you have enjoyed the retro vintage look in this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. It lets me know that what I'm doing is something that you enjoy seeing, and I can create more of those things. Also, if you would share the video, that would be much appreciated so that other people can get a little inspiration themselves for Christmas in July. We made a decorative box today, a little stacked tree, and 4 ornaments in a pink and blue and silver theme. Got a little bit of gold in those ornaments up above. I hope that it's given you a little idea of how you can do your own crafting if you enjoy a retro or vintage look in your home for the holidays. My backdrop is currently Halloween, so it is sitting off to the side, and I decided to just do a little corner here for the Christmas in July for y'all. If you enjoy budget-friendly crafting with a unique spin or touch, then I would appreciate you subscribing to the channel, because I strive to bring you all of the budget-friendly gorgeousness I possibly can. We're very active in the comment section in this channel, so if you would like to say hi and tell me where you're from, feel free to do so. I enjoy having you here. I hope that something that happens in your day today is a joyful experience for you and that your heart is happy. And I'm so happy to be part of your day. Thank you for taking the time to stop by and check out my videos and give me support and encouragement. I'm going to have another video in the rectangle down here on the bottom, and you can subscribe by hitting the circle. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.